Hello everyone, welcome back to Zero Tolerance TV. I am your host ZT. Today I'm going to be starting something a little different, but kind of the same. This is going to be a full series, or full season of an OSL. This is from 2006, the first season. I know nothing about this season, so I'm basically just going to cast it as if it's live. Yeah, so be ready for me to be referring to something from 2006 as if it just happened, because that's basically the plan. This here in the first game is a TVT, which is probably the best mirror matchup. I would say it's at least the most skill testing, but our players here are ClouD in orange and iloveOov in yellow. So the northern player, and oh wow, actually looks like ClouD is gonna proxy. This is a very early SCV, so can't imagine what else this is for. This is a two-player map, so definitely, you know, iloveOov is probably going to be thinking that this is possible. I think I've certainly heard of him more than ClouD. I've heard of both these players. And I've actually seen some iloveOov games. I've probably seen a couple ClouD games, but they don't really stick out too much. I don't think that's really something that matters too much. I'm not gonna let whether I've heard of a player dictate to me whether I think they're good or not. So, but maybe ClouD is feeling like iloveOov is a little bit of a better player and wants a quick advantage. You know, flipping some coins. But that said, I mean, the best player is Cheese too, so it's not like, you know, it's not like proxying a barracks just officially, or, you know, immediately means that you think you're worse than your opponent, but it is certainly the type of play that I would try if I were playing against a pro. I'd probably be trying to build gateways in their main, and they would scout them, and then I would lose, but on the off chance that they didn't, maybe I'd get the win. You never know. So, you know, if you walk 3 zealots into your opponent's mineral line when they're just not expecting it, like, I don't really care how good they are, they kind of just die. So we'll see what happens this game. ClouD's barracks is done already, so he's producing Marines. Actually, that SCV is this one, so he's, yeah, actually the first Marine just popped, looks like on the minimap. He's also taking gas, so this is not, I mean, it is just one barracks, so it's definitely not totally all in or anything like that. He's not pulling a ton of SCVs or anything. And with the gas, there is some sort of follow-up he's planning. Kind of tough to tell who SCVs are whose here. Looks like ClouD only has the one here, so shouldn't be too hard to follow it. It's the one, oh, well, now it's behind another, whatever. 2 Marines versus 2 Marines right now, but a third is rallied up here for ClouD. He should have a slight advantage, just in general, with the quicker barracks. But a slower rally, or a shorter rally, excuse me, for iloveOov. So actually, he's not too far behind on the Marine count in these fights. Neither player really trying to build a bunker. I thought ClouD might try. It would certainly be a very strong position to fight from, but I think bunker rushing is probably a little worse against Terran, since they can just lift their buildings if they absolutely have to. It's like if you get into range of a Protoss, you know, if you're shooting their gateway, that unit pops out and he gets shot. But here we go. iloveOov is trying to break up this ramp, but with the high ground advantage, ClouD is doing a decent job of trading here, killing off a couple SCVs before his Marines go down. But it does look like this pressure is over. Yeah, ClouD is just scouting with his barracks now, so we're going to have to see what his follow-up is. Looks like it's a factory. Proxied factory. Vulture's very strong against Marines, but iloveOov is going to scout it, and I don't think there's anything that's been produced out of this factory quite yet, so a pretty big deal that this gets scouted as early as it did. SCV goes down, the Vulture pops out, but immediately just gets focused. That's really rough for ClouD. He is in a tough position, I'd say. He's building a factory at home now. I feel like he could get that factory away. Well, I guess the Marines would just chase it down to the low ground. Vulture pops out, kills one Marine before the others are able to shoot it down. So it's something. If he'd done that with the first one, you know, maybe he could have gotten an extra shot off and then the third Vulture would actually finish the job, but he does not look like he's going to be able to save that factory. Actually, an armory for iloveOov. Not sure exactly what that's for. Well, it looks like ClouD actually got another Vulture out, and he's doing a decent job of microing against these Marines. 2 more shots will kill this one, but yeah. I was gonna say, I think that Marine is going to be able to kill it just in time. Here comes Oov's Vulture into ClouD's base now. What does he have to defend? Oh, nothing right now. This Vulture is going to have a good time 3-shotting SCVs. And ClouD is going to be taking some more economic damage here. He sacrificed early to get a quick barracks that did a little bit of damage, but not a ton. And now I think he lost 3 SCVs there. And that was after holding the Vulture follow-up pretty well. Although ClouD did actually end up saving that factory. I can see it on the minimap, so... Ooh, actually it's burning though. Looks like he's... Well... Maybe he can get an SCV out here to repair it? That is a pretty big deal. An early factory would be pretty nice for him to have. Doubling Vulture production, 100, 200 minerals and 100 gas that you don't have to spend later as well. But my thought is that it's probably going to burn down on the way home. But actually, you know what? I think that's an SCV on the minimap going out to save it. So we'll see. I can't see exactly how low it is, but I think it's on like 1 bar. It's very close to dying. Okay, and yeah, there we... Oh no! So close! That's so tragic. Oh my god. Honestly, if ClouD had just angled that a little better towards the SCV, he'd have saved it for sure. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, so now he's actually lost the factory and the mining time off the SCV. That was basically the worst possible scenario for him with that factory. I can't believe he lost that. The SCV, I thought it was already repairing. Oh my god, that is so tragic for ClouD. Looks like both players are expanding now, so this is gonna turn into something of a longer game. And really, once we get into siege tanks, it's very difficult to kill another Terran. Often these games, TVTs can go late and sort of turn into like mass dropships and all sorts of weird stuff. It's possible they might try nukes. I don't know how common that was in this time, but that seems like the type of thing that... Well, I mean, this is from 2006, so 8 years into the game, it's pretty figured out. Obviously, we're always learning. Oh, this is cheeky. Looks like Goliath can reach the mineral line from the high ground. Huh. I think that was 2 SCVs that died there. So nice little edge there for iloveOov. Pretty good pick off. But as I was saying, yeah, 8 years old game, getting pretty figured out. These players have been pretty seriously playing it for quite a while. 8 years for some of them, obviously, and maybe they've kind of moved past nukes, but I hope that this is still an era when nuking is like kind of common. It's just such a fun thing. I know it's very high risk if you get, especially if the nuke fires but the ghost dies too soon. Basically, you just lost everything for like 1 scan, right? It's not a very good time. Looks like Oov is moving in here, doing a good job laying mines around these tanks. Actually ends up picking all of them off, and now his Vultures and Goliaths have free reign over this base. ClouD's actually going to pull his SCVs and probably needs to lift off that CC and bring it over to his base. I don't think it'll go down. I like the mines there on the ramp. That's pretty smart for Oov to be doing. Looks like... Oh, a siege tank shot the Vultures. Okay. I thought a mine killed one, and I was wondering how that happens. Like, was there a Marine or something over there? But no, that was the siege tank that blew it up. So it looks like Cloud should be able to regain control over his natural. But a good attack there for iloveOov. Decent trades. Trading vultures for tanks is, I think, almost always good. Vultures are very quick to produce. And generally a lot of minerals saved up. If you're just trying to produce siege tanks, you will have a lot of extra minerals. Goliaths as well. Looks like Oov transferring over to his third. So a nice economic lead for him, I'd say. I haven't seen a third CC yet for ClouD. And there are mines all over his third, so he's going to have to scan to get rid of those or something. Impressed with iloveOov's use of mines in this game. He's definitely doing a good job of using them offensively. I'd like to see mines spread around the map. One of my favorite things you can do with mines is use them sort of like burrowed lanes, where you use them just for scouting more or less. It's definitely a matchup. I mean, vultures obviously don't trigger them, so they don't die unless your opponent is moving tanks or Goliaths. And at that point, you're very happy for the mine to shoot it down if it can hit. A lot of the time, tanks, I think 2 tanks on an attack move will not get hit by a mine. But it gives you good vision, and if it dies, then you know, okay, well, either he's scanned or there's a unit other than a vulture walking through there, and that is good scouting information. So I'd like to see more mines placed around the map, but still doing a good job using those. I haven't seen ClouD really do much of anything with mines quite yet. Still kind of reeling from that factory death. It was just tragic. So sad. This is, okay, first person cam for ClouD. Okay, a bit of a vulture fight here. Vulture fights are like Dragoon fights, where like 2 extra vultures makes a way bigger difference than you think. I think they even kill each other faster, so it probably matters even more. Although, your arc probably matters the most, to be honest. Kind of the same idea, just more vultures firing. Looks like iloveOov lost his barracks at some point, and now that he wants to add some more factories, he has to remake it. Again, though, generally you're strapped for gas more than minerals, so kind of just an annoyance more than anything. It is 2 less vultures, though. Okay, CC finally for ClouD, so he'll be taking a third. But iloveOov has had his third for quite a while, so I definitely like his spot economically. You can also see there's a lot more yellow spread around the map, so he's got map control as well. That opening really didn't do ClouD any favors, especially losing the factory. Poor factory. Imagine being the factory pilot who has to take the course that his commanders plotted out for him, even though it's the reason he dies. iloveOov here actually pouncing on a couple tanks. Looks like he probably took those out without too many losses at all. Pretty painful for ClouD. And now he has scouted this, well, attempted third. Looks like it's probably not going to finish. Well, I mean, if that vulture just attacks the command center, then it will actually finish. But could very easily just take out that SCV, and ClouD would have to cancel. Mines laid on top of that tank. Assuming that hit it, but 1 mine doesn't kill a tank. Yeah, it looks like it did die, though, so it had some other damage on it. And iloveOov is moving back towards ClouD's third. I'd like to see whether that command center finished. Doesn't look like it's been canceled yet, so I think that vulture might actually just be attacking the CC itself instead of hitting the SCV. ClouD needs to scan if he's going to walk through here. Oh, wow, and there's actually tanks set up as well. This is definitely not somewhere he wants to be. Losing a couple of his own tanks basically for nothing. I think that was 3 tanks that died. Is set up now in this position and is taking out some of those mines with his siege tanks, but kind of a rough loss there. Okay, the Vulture did realize that, oh yeah, there's an SCV here to kill. And iloveOov, this is kind of BM. That is a very forward base. That might be just how this map kind of works, though. I'm not sure. Oh shoot! I looked at the name before the cast, but I cannot remember the name. Peaks of Beakdu or something. I think that's actually it. Beaku. It's a weird one. Peaks of Beakdu. Yeah, there's actually a StarCraft 2 map that looks a lot similar to this one. I can't remember that name. But for some reason, Pizza Beakdu makes me think of it. So maybe it is actually this map. I have no idea though. That's just like... That might be just a totally false memory I made up in my brain right now. I'm not even sure. But I feel like that's the thing. Quick shot of our players. Hello, player. I don't know who these... I can't tell you which is which, based on the picture. I suppose by team, but I didn't check, so... And yeah, just looking at the minimap, I mean, it's so tough for ClouD to move out even. He is still on 2 base. And just getting contained really hard now. Before, he was only being contained on the left. Now losing a bunch of vultures to this tank fire. And just an overwhelming number of tanks here for iloveOov. He's probably got twice the number of tanks in this area as ClouD. And the same is true on the left side. That's what's really rough about this. If iloveOov could expand to the right side of the map, you know, he could take 2 more bases over there, this might be a game. But as it is, iloveOov's just got the whole thing. ClouD really doesn't get much at all. Even transferring SCVs over to one of ClouD's bases. And this base is just littered with mines. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, iloveOov has... This is a 5-base-to-2 game. That is rough. But this is TVT. It's tough to end the game. And really, it's possible to make a huge mistake and throw. You know, if you walk 6 tanks into a siege line and just lose them all for free, this game suddenly is a lot closer. I don't think that would make it even, but it would probably get a lot more playable for ClouD. If he, yeah, well, you know, we're talking about it, 6 tanks right there. Now he does not end up running them into ClouD siege tanks, so not going to happen yet, but it's possible. You know, there's always that potential for a big throw. And it looks like ClouD's actually trying to break this position, throwing his vultures in first. Now, are those SCVs? No, okay, those Goliaths or something. He now does have his tanks sieged up in a decent position. Trading okay here, not bad for ClouD. It's a little tough in the up the hill, but looks like he's actually cleared out iloveOov's tanks pretty well. But in the meantime, iloveOov has moved his tanks forward as well, and it's looking like he's able to deny ClouD's natural even. So this will be putting him back to 1 base that's probably about to mine out. Really tough situation. Maybe some mine drakes, though. That could definitely change the game. Nothing happening that's too crazy there. Oh, okay, there it is. ClouD calls GG. Yeah, that game was looking real rough for him, and you really can't blame him at that point. He did hold out pretty well, and you know, again, he could have kept playing for a little while longer. It is TVT, very difficult to kill your opponent. But that is it for our first match. iloveOov takes it after ClouD failed a proxy. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back for the next game and all the ones after that, too. Have a good one.